today we are talking cannabis and hemp. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you quickly tell us when was the Cannabis and Hemp Association started in Namibia?
So our official launch date was 2020, but I have been advocating for cannabis legalization in Namibia since 2015, and since about 2017-18, the association has already been busy doing things. But 2020, we got a website.
Why is it so important to legalize cannabis?
It is the prohibition of cannabis is one of the last remaining apartheid laws, alongside our, sexual health and sodomy laws, I guess, that stem from an apartheid government. So essentially the law needs to be revised because the prohibition of cannabis is a human rights violation. We're essentially putting people in cages and giving them criminal records for a plant that's proven to be less harmful than alcohol and tobacco, which you can buy in any shop on the shelf, regulated by age only. So,
But even if you look at caffeine, I mean, I'm addicted to caffeine. Everyone who knows me knows I drink a lot of coffee.
caffeine is a psychoactive substance. We have so many pharmaceuticals, we have so many addictions. I think that's the other thing we need to look at, addiction to sex, addiction to pornography, addiction to gaming, to internet. There's all these addictions and vices that we have as humans, and the focus seems to be on cannabis and drugs. And we need to move away from that and look at the evidence surrounding these substances, and also the evidence in terms of trauma and, for example, why there is addiction. And I think with cannabis also, for me, the important thing is that it has so much potential, so that is something that we need to start focusing on.
What else does the association do?
So we focus mainly on education, for government, for communities. We try to basically give people the facts around cannabis. The other thing is that I really want to stress is, like, we're not advocating for everyone to now start using cannabis. That's not what this is about. It's about the fact that this plant has the potential as a medicine, as an industrial product, as a sustainable alternative to drilling for fossil fuels and destroying the nature and all the mining that's happening here. So everything that we can do from fossil fuels and from oil, we can do from hemp. But it's a sustainable plant that sequesters carbon, that cleans the soils, it can create industries. And it is globally one of the fastest growing industries. And so, yeah, I think that is a huge part of it as well. It's, acknowledging people's human rights, and if someone chooses to use cannabis, then they should rightfully be allowed to do so. But we're not advocating for everyone to use cannabis. And then the other thing that the association does is the advocacy work for the legalization of cannabis. So working with different stakeholders, trying to engage with government and lawmakers and health practitioners as much as possible.
What are the benefits of cannabis and hemp for our economy, in the agricultural industry, on the social justice?
I mean, I think it could be immense. Cannabis and hemp. Cannabis, for example, as well as a health product for animals. They just actually did a study on feeding cows cannabis hemp seeds for a matter of weeks, and they then did blood tests and tested the meat, and the quality of the meat, is significantly better. The health of the cows, the hormones, the stress hormones in the meat and in the body are significantly lower. The inflammation is lower. So essentially, when you're feeding your animals, this plant, the seed of the plant, which is anyway a complete nutritional product, you're increasing the health, and as well, there's so much potential in industry, in job creation, because we can create anything, from plastic, that's made from hemp, that's sustainable, that is biodegradable to paper, which, you know, normally we make paper from trees, which take hundreds of years to grow. We can grow hemp, which takes 3 months, and we can make paper that's sustainable and that sequesters carbon, so it's carbon neutral. You know, we can make textiles from hemp, which are, you know, mold resistant, pest resistant, use a quarter of the water that cotton does, don't use pesticides and herbicides and chemicals in the process like cotton does. So there's all this potential. We can be making bricks to create houses, and again, you know, houses that are carbon neutral, houses that don't use as much water or chemicals like, you know, the cement industry, the concrete industry, houses that are pest resistant, mold resistant, fire resistant. So there's all these opportunities for creation of jobs in rural areas as well, you know, creation of jobs in areas where people don't have that much resources, because it can be set up as community hubs. And also different industries, you know, we have so many entrepreneurs in Namibia that can set up, you know, plastic making, weaving, paper making. I feel that if we don't take the opportunity to utilize this plant for its benefits, then, you know, we're essentially missing out. And there's also the element of that climate change is happening and it's real, and our government is drilling for oil when we have the opportunity to engage in sustainable, you know, agriculture of hemp that can benefit us all.
When we look at the sustainability elements, it seems silly that no one's jumping on this wagon, that no one's legalizing it in Namibia. And the reality is we have vast open spaces of land that can be utilized, and it will be good for our economy. An economy that is, let's face it, struggling.
Exactly. Our economy needs this. And the other thing is as well, like we have areas like the Neckartal Dam, where there is a call out for projects and investments to utilize, you know, the area, utilize the water. So planting hemp there would be perfect. You know, I feel as well in terms of creating new research, having our own research around the plant and creating new avenues of education, you know, new college degrees in hemp. You know, you see it all over Africa. Countries are legalizing cannabis as well as hemp, and the growth of it is amazing. You know, because it's a plant also that can really grow in a variety of different areas, of different soils, of different climates, and we have so much sun, and we do have the water available. You know, that's the other thing is utilizing crops like hemp that use less water, and that you can also plant in ways that are not just soaking up a ton of water. For example, like cotton it's, you know, environmentally it's not a sustainable crop in comparison to hemp, for example.